Morning, Mimi.
Good morning, Tammy. How are you today?
I'm good. I think as two good Catholics, we could say a prayer first. What do you think?
That sounds great.
Okay, I'll say, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Amen. So,
That's right.
thank you very much for joining me on my podcast today.
Well, thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So I think everyone who's joining us today, this will be very interesting because both of us actually have gone on a journey together to become healthy again. All of our journeys are very long. They're our whole lives, really, but sometimes they take a dramatic turn now and then just to right things if we can. And you have to be brave, I think. I think you have to be brave and you have to be open-minded and you have to have some humility to realize you don't know all the answers and there may be answers out there that you're not aware of. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation. This is dear to my heart. And we both met Carrie Mann, who's doing the Proper Human Diet documentary, which I think will be coming out sometime this year. Is that correct?
I believe in the fall.
Yeah. So he's the one who put us in touch. He put me in touch with you. He said, "This is you'll enjoy talking to Mimi." So here we are. And so maybe we could start. You could just tell us a little bit about your documentary experience with Carrie Mann.
Oh, wow. It was more than I ever could imagined. It was pretty remarkable. They followed me for 2.5, 3 days around. They came here, visited me, followed, my life, how I live my day now. We had Carrie's a wonderful. He has the ability, I think, a real gift to listen, to discern, to ask questions that you haven't even thought of yourself. So I found the whole experience very moving and very healing. It was pretty transformative. And then Adam has a gift of having the camera in your face and you don't even realize it.
Yep, that's right. Yeah.
And the two of them together are just such a powerful team. And it was just beyond moving. It really was. And
well, I imagine they've heard so many of these stories now because they've been following people who've had these transformations. So maybe you could also now start to talk about some of your health challenges that you've had and what you've done to turn that around.
Wow, sure. Well, it hit me. I'm now 70 and a half already. I'll be coming up on it goes fast. My 70th birthday in September. But it hit me in my late 50s, working hard, neglecting myself in every aspect of my life. And I had a fall, a broken arm, and it really was a catalyst for a series of illnesses. My body just started to attack itself from every way. Dupuytren's, which is a rare disorder, followed by rheumatoid arthritis. Shortly after that, within 2 years, diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. That rapidly progressed, and I became a multiple system atrophy suspect. Started to attack my autonomic system, and I had a lot of symptoms that were not typical of early stage Parkinson's. Had to quit work, had cognitive dysfunction. I mean, I was really failing fast. And then from there, had a medium-sized stroke. And while I was in the hospital being treated for a stroke, unfortunately, the IV was contaminated and I was infected with MRSA. It spread to my spine, and my spinal canal landed me in the hospital back again, actually, for 2+ months, and then in rehab. And I left rehab, and I've been active. I'm an accomplished equestrian, pretty adventuresome. And now I've left rehab with a walker, unable to walk stairs, unable to go back to my home because I said I'd never be able to walk stairs. And I had 27 steps in my townhouse. And I was given less than a 50% chance of ever surviving because the MRSA, which is a staph-resistant bacteria, had spread and seeded so long in my body before it was treated properly. And I had so many other illnesses that really the chance of me ever living a normal life were nil, and me surviving was not optimistic at all.
Wow. What a surprise. And how had been your life? How had you led your life before that time?
Well, I rode horses. I walked. I backpacked with 65 pounds up at high altitude. I was I kayaked. I dog sledded for a week. I mean, I was active, and so still had a lot of promise and a good health. Other than childhood asthma, which I was able to manage and control. Mm-hmm. I mean, really nothing of anything. And within a short, 2 to 4 year time, I mean, I was just hit with one thing after another.
Huh. And you said you were in your mid-50s, is that right?
So I was in my late 50s when it started. I had my stroke, a little over 6 years of my stroke.
Wow.
I lived with Parkinson's for 6 years, was on, and for anybody that knows anything about that, typically the gold standard is carbidopa, levodopa. Often you're not even put on it for a few years. Within 2 years, I was on 1,200 milligrams a day, which meant I was taking pills every 3.5 to 4 hours. To even function all day long, which is an enormous amount of medication. You're pretty much maxed out at 1,800 milligrams, and here in 2 years, I'm on that. And, had to quit work. I mean, my executive function was horrible, and not only the physical symptoms I had, the mental symptoms that I had.
And then, it must be hard to remember all of that, hey? And hard to believe all of that.
It is. I don't know if I have actually pinned on one of my accounts. I just recently was at MUSC and saw the picture when I first went into neuro of when I was 61 years old. And I look like my mother now. I mean, I'm 20 years older than I am. And I was 61, and and I have very few pictures from that time. Just unrecognizable. And even my eyes, everything about me. I mean, I was just lost and hopeless and was just getting worse by the month.
In preparation for this interview, I've been showing that picture, those two pictures, because there's such a stark difference between, I showed them when you were 61.
Yeah.
And then I show this picture when you're 70 and you look, I don't know, 20 years younger, at least.
I do.
And vibrant. It's beautiful. It's beautiful and exciting to see.
Well, it is. It really is a testament to the power of our bodies to heal, even at my age. If it's not like I'm 20, 30, 40, 50. I'm 70. This was in my mid to late 60s when the healing began. And the fact that much healing could occur at my age really is a testament to the power and the miraculous bodies we're really each blessed with.
Yes, that's for sure. So how long did it take and what did you have to do to start this healing process?
Um, I was released from rehab and I went on for about a year and a half, not doing well. My family's thinking about putting a home for me. Um, and I'm thinking I'm not going to live to get in the home long enough. And I did try to walk and to get out in fresh air. Occasionally I could get a quarter mile, but then it would set me back a week. I just couldn't move. And I had my spiritual moment at a mailbox that I passed every day that I really gave zero thought to. And I stopped, I had a cane. I've now gotten rid of the walker, so I had progressed. And I stopped at the mailbox thinking, I just can't do this anymore. I
Mm.
am just going to turn around. I'm a burden. There's no use for me. I'm sick. I'm getting sicker. I'm going to turn around. I'm going to let this take me. I'm
Mm.
just going to surrender to it. And as I turn around, surrendering to the illness, I hear, so you can't do what you want to do. What can you do? And I stopped and I scanned my body probably for the first time. And I answered, I have 10 steps in me. And then I heard, well, then go take them. And I turned around and took those 10 steps. And I went home and I didn't think much of it. But then the next day when I tried to walk, I stopped at that point of the mailbox plus 10 steps and I asked myself that same question. And then I did that every day, one day after another, still not comprehending what had happened, still feeling lost. And then about 2 months after, I had now put on some weight for the first time, which is not helping my back. And I went to go see a gentleman across the street who was a chiropractor to help me lose weight. He listened to me for about an hour and a half. I brought my 13 plus medication. And he asked me if I would trust him. And I said, yes. And he said, I want you to eat. And at this point, I'm on a very high plant-based diet with very little protein so that my Parkinson's medicine would work. Maybe a fistful, 4 ounces at night. He said, I want you to change how you're eating. I want you to eat 50% fat to start, 25% protein. And I looked at him and said, are you nuts? I mean, my medicine isn't going to work. And he said, well, nothing's working now and you're a really sick woman. We need to make you well. So I said, okay. And I proceeded to listen to him and I ate more fat in the first week than I probably had eaten in any previous year. And I kept doing it. And around 6 to 9 months, I found myself eating more beef, more fat, craving it more. I was very clean. So when I consider it, I say a clean keto diet, there was no dairy, no packaged foods. I did allow some fruits and vegetables. I did have some fish, some chicken, but I really started to eat a lot of the beef, and I was not a beef eater. But around 6 or 9 months, I started to get up to 70% fat. And that's when the neuro symptoms started to improve. I didn't need my medication every 3.5 hours. I found myself at 4.5 hours thinking, well, maybe I need to take it now. And that's when the light bulb went on in my head. Oh my gosh. Food has everything to do with my healing. And then I just ran with it.
Wow, how exciting.
It was there were a great couple moments, because I thought, well, because I also got to a point where, well, maybe God's not done with me. God got I mean, I was sick and, here, and I say that to people about the 10 steps, which seems so insignificant. And especially for somebody who is fit and active and an athlete, but those 10 steps were brutal to take. And that was literally all I had. And it required me to be loving and tender and forgiving to myself and accepting that was all that I had in me at the point. And the funny thing is 10 steps every day got me to that 1.5 mile, 2 mile marker I had in my head that a year and a half, quicker than a year and a half trying to push and berate myself to do more. It wasn't until I was really kind and loving to myself and did the 10 steps, I got there faster. It was another lesson that I needed to learn.
So what do you mean by just 10 steps? What do you mean by that?
I literally just took 10 steps more each day. And that is barely across the room, but that was all I had. And I had to humble myself. I had to be accepting that that's where I was, that was the best I could do. And that it was okay.
And
go ahead.
When did you and what made you decide to go see this fellow across the street?
Because I had put on weight and I needed to get it off, and it was a weight loss clinic. I had no idea what I was going to. One of the few doctors that I trusted when I looked online random. And one of the few doctors that I knew and trust had said, here I am, a doctor, and I learned so much from this man. So I thought, well, that's where I'm going to go. And not to mention, it's literally across the street from me. So I'm going to just go there. And again, I just was led to the right person, because of all the places I could have gone, would have told me, continue what I'm doing, cut your calories. Instead, this man is telling me, no, I want you to eat fat. I want you to eat beef. Which at the time was the craziest thing I'd ever heard. I mean, it's contrary to, all my doctors wanted me on a high plant-based, practically vegan diet, and I'm doing more and more, and I'm getting thicker and sicker and weaker. And here he's telling me, and after this experience with him, I started to just literally ignore all the advice I was getting that was making me sick.
Have you talked to your other doctors about this at all?
No, I haven't seen a doctor in 10 years. I got myself off of my medications. A lot of them didn't want to hear. A lot weren't curious. A lot told me that I was going to die and die quickly. The only one that had any interest and wrote something in my notes was my movement disorder, which was my Parkinson's neurologist. I had a few neurologists, but my Parkinson's made a note when I said to her, I'm doing a little bit more of a keto thing. I played it down because I've already been getting pushback. And here I'm supposed to not be doing this. But I said, and I liked her. She was my favorite of all of them. I'm doing a little bit more. And I'm starting to feel better. And she said, well, you're moving better and you look better. And that was it. But the rest, I got pushback. I got pushback from my infectious disease doctor getting off my medication. I had very few known side effects from my medication, and they all wanted me to stay on. And so I don't recommend anybody to follow my path, but I chose to wean myself. It took 1.5 to 2 years. I got myself off of 13 plus medications. That cost me over $65,000 a year, and I am on no medications.
No medications. Hallelujah. That's what I say.
Yes, hallelujah is right.
Oh, I have another question. This is kind of out of left field, this question, but it's a theory that I have. I wonder if going from a plant diet to a fat ketone diet, whether that has been something that has been good for your faith journey.
Oh, yes.
Now, how can you say that? Yes. How can you say that?
I can, because I'm here, and because I was able to think clearer, because I was able to be, I look at how I nourish my body as the food or gifts from God. that he blessed us from the beginning of time. I mean, from the very beginning. I just finished, I had a year of OCIA class, and one of the first classes, and I think it was Genesis. Maybe I might have made a mistake, but, we're talking about, and God gave us, the animals, and we were given dominion over them and all. And we've been blessed with this from the beginning of time. And I think clear any, and I minored in math. I should have been a math major. I was a biology major, and I was at the point where I couldn't do simple 2-digit subtraction and division. I mean, and I could still, at that, before I got sick, could help my nieces with their advanced calculus, and now I can't do simple math. I mean, I couldn't even accomplish cooking. I couldn't even put a meal together. I had to pass the reins. So yes, my clarity, my mental clarity, my spiritual clarity, I was no longer dead inside. I was no longer weak. So yes, it's definitely affected my spiritual journey.
Yeah, that's just staggering to me. That's just staggering. But it seems to me that that's true. It really does. I think, you know what? There's so many people who are lost from their spiritual journey and I wonder if, because we've been steered towards eating all of these processed carbohydrates as to make life easier, to have access to food whenever you want without having to really get into the kitchen and do some work. We've been given that as a gift. It's like from the food industry, but it's done the opposite. It's made us all less cognitively aware. And now there's obesity and heart disease and diabetes and neurological diseases and all of these diseases that we never used to have.
You're right. And I was a good eater. I grew up in a nose to tail, no processed home. So I didn't even have to ditch. That didn't mean I had some, occasional piece of bread, though it was usually homemade, or some chips or something. I didn't have a closet full. I mean, I ate well. And yet I still was affected negatively by not eating high fat, high beef diet.
Right.
And
so it isn't just the processed carbohydrates, it's the plants. Yeah.
Well, that too. And and everything else poisons you. How can it not poison your mind? How can it not poison every part of you? And to me, it is poison. And about a year and a half, and getting off of almost all of my medications. My last one was, I had a PICC line for 3 months of just about every antibiotic to kill the bacteria. And then they sent me home with a very strong antibiotic that I was on twice a day for 3.5 years. They wanted me on it for life. And he knew I was taking a risk. It was against a slew of doctor's orders who said I was going to die. But I took that risk. I really trusted that I was well enough. I had been on this journey for almost 2 years. And I was willing to take the risk knowing the antibiotics would eventually kill me down the road, because I have so many I can't take that I'm allergic to now, so many groups, and that this was just destroying me. And it was at that point that I weaned myself off of the last medication, which was the antibiotic. I did have a few, my MRSA was bloodborne, but it appeared a couple years later on my skin. And that concerned me. It hides, encapsulates like cancer does, and waits for an opportune time to come back. So I'm pretty vigilant. But that was when I opted, and it's been a good decision to go carnivore, to streamline my diet even more, to really beef. I've now eliminated eggs. So it's really beef, butter. I do like my coffee in the morning. And I will have some fish. I live at the ocean. Once or twice a year, I might have a piece of chicken. And I adhere to that pretty well, streamlined diet. And I have not had an occurrence of MRSA on my skin for almost a year and a half. I've also dystonia, limb dystonia, which is a typical disease that joins with Parkinson's. I've had a couple episodes of that. That's the only one. And I keep my diet high in fat. I haven't had an incidence in a good year and a half of that from being carnivore. I keep myself in ketosis on carnivore. And it's been the right move. When you think clear, when you start to become healthy and fit and more, spiritually engaged, I find it's easier to listen to your intuition. And I just knew I needed to do these things. And if I was wrong, I could go back and change it. But they proved to be good and right decisions. And I still think I keep improving.
Right.
Yes. I keep feeling that and whenever I think, I'm at my best, a couple months later, I'm like, well, maybe I'm not.
What about your skin? Have you felt a difference in your skin?
Oh, my skin. I mean, just look at the pictures. I was dying. I was lifeless. I mean, my eyes, people say, oh, well, nice contacts. I'm like, no, those aren't contacts. Those are a clear-eyed woman who's healthy and full of gratitude and full of faith, instead of a woman who was spiritually dead, frightened, scared, and lost, and physically ill.
What are your children? You have children, don't you?
I do. I have 3 daughters.
And what do they think about this transformation? I mean, I know they must be grateful, but what do they think about
it? They're absolutely amazed. I mean, I just was on vacation and visited my youngest daughter and son-in-law, and they just sit at the table across from me and say, we just can't believe it. They just can't believe it. They haven't fully wrapped their head around it.
Has it changed their lives at all?
Well, I would say they are, because I started lifting weights 3 years ago. I was skinny, emaciated, osteoporosis, borderline. They wanted me on meds. I said, no, I just got off at 13. I'm not going on it. And my muscles were wasted. I weight trained 3 times a week. So they are eating more beef. But they are weight training.
Those are 2 good things.
Those are 2 good things. It's always a challenge. First it's like they're grateful that I'm well. And then it's like, okay, you're well. Like, don't you think you're carrying it too far? Have some pizza or something. And like, you do realize that this is how I got well. And if I go back to eating how I was, I'm very well, and most likely, I know I will get sick again, so I'm going to stick with what works. And now they're totally accepting and grateful and are just amazed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're a poster girl for us. That's for sure. I'm so excited. So have you started up working again?
So I work part-time. I started about, so part of this journey is everything that I lost, because especially with Parkinson's, your world becomes smaller, and it becomes smaller fast. Your movements become smaller. Your thinking, what you're able to do becomes smaller, and it just chips away at what you can do. And that's just that disease alone, not even all the other illnesses that I'm dealing with. So really, I started to make my world bigger again. So one of them was about 2 years ago. I felt confident enough, felt secure in my mental capacity to learn a computer program. I work part-time at a senior center. So I work 2 shifts a week, one Saturday, from 5:30 in the morning to 12:30, 2 7.5-hour shifts. I work back in the fitness. And it's been good because I had to learn a new computer program, and I have to juggle a lot of things in my head, which is what executive function is. It's one of the things that I lost, the ability to juggle things. So it's been good. And I keep, I think I pretty much claimed just about everything that I lost
Oh, good.
back.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And more, and then some.
Now, I wonder, what did the people in the senior citizens' homes, do you tell them your story?
If they ask. So it's a senior center, it's a rec center and fitness. Some ask. Some say, well, you look really healthy and fit. What do you do? My trainer I got from there. So sometimes they'll hear, like, I hear you're pretty incredible in the gym. When you do? You've always been that way. And I said, no, I was actually really sick. And sometimes they want to hear, sometimes they don't.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'll say, good morning, how are you? And often I hear, well, my rheumatoid arthritis has killed me. I can barely move. And then I'll say, well, I have rheumatoid arthritis and I'm in remission. If you're interested, I'd be glad to share. Some are interested. Some say, oh, I couldn't give up those foods. And that breaks my heart because there's nothing. I know your daughter has dealt with it.
Yeah.
It's painful. And
broke my heart when he was sick. Just broke my heart. Oh God.
I bet.
Still makes me cry.
Yeah.
Little kid like that. Terrible. She was in a wheelchair by the time she was 8 years old.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow. It's and so to have the hope of not being in the pain, not having your joints deteriorate, because besides it eats away at your joints. I mean, so it's not just the pain. It's not just you can't do things. It's the destruction it causes. And it pains me to hear people say, I couldn't give that up. Because that's
tricky. I feel that too. I wonder always what I can say to help, It's hard to know what you can say to help. I guess what it says in our spiritual work is that they can see by our example.
And that's really the best. And I do have some. I see a lot of people with Parkinsonism, Parkinson's, and some are really interested and say, oh, thank God I was supposed to talk to you today. And so, and I will tell you that almost all of them, none of them. It's so sad. None of them eat beef or fat.
Right. Well, they're not told to.
No, they're told the opposite. They're afraid of it. And personally, until it's not demonized in the medical world, we've got a big struggle on us because people still, and especially people my age and older, I certainly was one myself, where it's like, whatever the doctor said, I'll do.
Yeah.
And no longer for me.
Mm-hmm.
No longer will I accept a diagnosis. Will I accept that this is the only treatment, that there's no hope? As long as I'm breathing, there's hope. And most of the time, what we need, God's blessed us with already to heal.
Right. Yeah. How often do you go to church?
Well, I just was confirmed and received as a Catholic last Easter Vigil.
Oh, welcome. Oh, so was I last year at Easter?
Just like a week ago.
Oh, this one. Yeah, I was confirmed a year ago this Easter.
Oh, you were? Oh.
Yeah, and wow, this Easter, like this Good Friday, I went to church, and it was much more profound an experience for me to see, the in this Mass, the priest, they brought the crucifix up, shrouded, and then they took the shroud off and people lined up to kiss the feet of Christ. And I was so sorry for all the sins that I've committed, much, much more sorry than I have been in the past. And I felt a real, well, I went up there and kissed him. I just said, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. To do, it feels so good to be sorry. It feels so good to be able to say that.
I had my first confession last Saturday. So I participated all in Holy Week. I studied from last September through the year, every Tuesday. Our deacon, Jason, was absolutely wonderful. I knew this is what I wanted to do. I actually had the tug before I was sick and then lost my way. I'm a former Episcopalian. But every week I was more committed than I was the previous week. And so I was leading up to it. I was so excited. Holy Week was wonderful. Had my first confession last Saturday after our practice before Easter Vigil. I was nervous. And I'm 70, so my list was longer than I cared to have it. I said, how far back do we have to go as far as you can remember? And I can remember farther back than I cared to. But I spent a lot of time and a lot of thought. It was nothing what I expected it to be. And, I had tears in my eyes. By the time I got to the end of the list, my voice was cracking. I was given what my penance was, the absolution. Then I said my prayer of sorrow. By the time I finished my prayer, my voice was cracking and shaking, and I had tears. I felt so sorry. My heart felt pierced. I felt the full effect of my sins. But then when I went to the church and after I, said what the priest instructed me, what my penance was, I felt so loved, so forgiven. I felt such grace. And I felt such a relief. And it was just miraculous, and so many of these things that I thought that I had been forgiven, believed I was forgiven, I was still carrying around, beating myself up for. Even some minor things, that, you've done when you're younger that weren't even mortal sins. I'm still beating myself up. And after my first confession with a prayer, it's like, okay, now I get the difference. Now I see the beauty of this. And I found myself my first week being real mindful of my actions in a way that I hadn't then.
Yeah.
So it was pretty incredible. The whole experience.
I've been, as a young girl, my aunt introduced me to yoga when I was 13 years old. And all of my siblings had left home and nobody was going to church. So I stopped going to church and started doing yoga, which was fine. She taught me to meditate. I learned to meditate and I did yoga and meditated till I was in my 50s. I did it every day. It was my own practice that I did, but when I got sick, cause I was very sick, I didn't understand that. I didn't understand the practice, the yoga practice deeply, like I understand Christianity, because that's what I was born into, And so I definitely came back to Christianity when I was very, very ill, when I needed more support. But I had no idea the grace that I would feel when, and it's a profound forgiving, isn't it? It's not just the forgiving of Christ, but it's our own judgment that is very heavy. It's very heavy on us. It can really take us down. So it's worth going to church just to keep ourselves from taking ourselves down.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I found myself at one point after um, uh, starting that afternoon, starting to want to berate myself for something that I had been forgiven. And then it hit me that, God's blessed me with this grace and this forgiveness. So by me taking back anything I've been forgiven for is really a slap in the face to God's gift. So I immediately recognized that and just like, no,
Yeah.
we're not going there.
Yeah. Yeah. I've spent, this is what I was going to say. So this meditation practice, now that I've done the catechism for a year and I've been reading the Bible and going to church and practicing, I realized that I have the choice about how I think, that I can go down, like you said, that you can practice those thoughts that you had previously, which maybe are worry and doubt and bitterness and anger and all these different things. Or you can you can make another choice and you can reach up to God instead in prayer. And so I do that now. I don't let my thoughts go anywhere. I catch myself like, no, don't even get started. If I wake up in the middle of the night with worry, I think, no, don't even get started. Just, I'll pray. And then in the morning, I can think, oh yeah, I woke up and I prayed. I can't even remember what I was worried about because I replaced it with prayer so fast.
Yeah. 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 And I go to bed. I love, I'm learning the rosary. There's a lot to learn. And I'm not as sharp as when I was younger. There's an awful lot to learn. So I'm learning the rosary, which I love, at the novenas just have grabbed a hold of me. And I've been praying those since January. And I go to bed praying one every night. It's a wonderful way. I sleep better and I wake up even better and more grateful.
So do you get the novenas from the church on Sundays?
So I've been using an app. I have some books. On Monday we have a mass and we have the miraculous novena, miraculous metal novena after. So I'll go to mass a couple times a week. I like the Monday one of doing that, especially being in a room and praying it with a number of people with you. It is pretty wonderful.
I think it's very good. When my father passed away, not this Christmas, but the Christmas before, I had been on my own and I was praying and walking and doing what I could to grieve. But my husband had gone up to see his father because his father wasn't well. And when I spoke to my weekly priest appointment, I admitted I'd been resentful that week, and I felt bad. And he said, did you take that to prayer? And I said, yes, I had, but it didn't really take until I told him. I had to tell someone. I couldn't keep it to myself. Yeah. Isn't that interesting? I think that's so interesting.
It is. I mean, I find myself, I'm like, well, I just had my first confession. It was a big one a week ago. Scanning myself, is there anything? When I touch myself sometimes, I never thought about it as that being prideful.
Right.
Worry is prideful. I just was listening to something on I've been listening to Hallow. It's great because I need to see the words, hear the words, and say the words in order to learn something.
Yeah.
So I do that a lot. And then when I'm driving, I get that constant repetition, which helps for me to learn. And he was talking about worrying being prideful. I never thought about worry being prideful. So it's interesting. But yes, there is something about, and I was sharing with a friend. So I've shared with other people, it's not the same as with a priest. It just it's not been the same experience as with a priest, as the sacrament of penance. It is just different.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I found it beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And I expected it to be torturous. And it wasn't. The going through it, that doesn't mean there aren't moments of pain through it, but you get through the pain and you get to a place where it's a beautiful gift.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a surprise for me.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's wonderful. So are you going on a pilgrimage?
Well, I was supposed to go this year.
Mm-hmm.
Something felt wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't feel, physically, I felt ready, even though it might have been a little tough of a toll. It was 500 miles, and I've been training for it. And I probably could have done it, but I have to think, okay, at my age, what's the toll it's going to take? And I've been through a lot. My body's been through a lot the last 9 years. My recovery of 4+ years of getting well. And it's just my first year of really being fit and recovered, so that maybe I need time. It turned out to be wise because a week after I made the decision, listening to my intuition that I was going to cancel it, I broke my foot, so I wouldn't have been able to go anyway.
How is your foot?
It's good, thank you. I'm out of the boot, and it's good. I still don't trust it 100%. That may take a few more weeks.
Okay, good.
But I'm walking on it. I'm out of the boot. So yes, I plan next spring to do the St. James Way.
Now, you don't have to go all 500 miles, do you?
No, but I want to.
But you want to? Well, be kind to yourself.
That's me. Because that's me.
Yeah, that's
well,
right.
there's a story there. I've always wanted to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got sick, that was one of the things that I knew I would never do. And when I was at my worst, my daughter and son-in-law were on a trip, and she came back with a shell and the passport stamped. She convinced the man to stamp the passport. He said, "Ma'am, we don't ever do this." And she said, "Well, you don't understand. My mom wanted to do this. She's sick. She'll never be able to walk it. Could you just stamp it so I could give it to her? And I'm hoping this shell will motivate her to be able to move and maybe to just walk again. Thus, she'll never be able to do this pilgrimage." And so he stamped it, and she brought it back. She hung the shell on my lamp, and as a gift. And she said, "Well, I hope this will inspire you." And at the time, which I feel bad about now, I thought I'll never be able to walk it. That's just a reminder of what I can't do. And it became a reminder of what I can do.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a story to that why I want to walk those 500 miles.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think Carrie and Adam are going to come and film me too.
Oh, is that right? Oh, wow.
Yeah, they were planning on doing it this year. So I not only disappointed myself, I knew, I was a disappointment to them. They understood. But yeah, that was the plan this year. Hopefully they will still want to do it next year. They were going to follow me. They actually were training as well to join me on the journey and film me.
Oh, wow. Well, who knows how many people will go?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I know. We don't know, do we?
Yeah, I saw pictures of you on holidays last year because you posted them on X. I saw it looked so beautiful. You looked so beautiful, really.
Thank you. My first one. I'll go visit them when I'm out in Colorado and stay with them. They go in the summer, and I'll go visit them in Palm Beach where they live. I'll visit my other daughters. I went in Alaska, but I hadn't been on a holiday somewhere. And this is my first one.
You crocheted? Did you crochet your dresses?
No, I didn't, but I do crochet. I do knit.
Oh, they look really nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like those.
Thank you. So it was, my first holiday, and it was fun. And I had to get on and off a boat with moving water and it not being docked. And I will tell you that If I hadn't started training for years ago, I could have never have done this trip.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was to an out island, so it was a lot, not to mention the fact that I had to 25, 30 minutes before flights were changing, and I had a 22-minute walk, and I was able to jog with a backpack down there,
Wow.
and, getting up and down I'm in this little island in the Bahamas, so to even get to a boat to get where we were staying. So I'm really grateful, and it was a fun trip. So thank you.
Huh? I can see your horizon going like this now.
Yeah.
Isn't that fun? Isn't that fun? Wow.
It is fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Yes, exciting things even, at this age. And so many of us are taught that accepting illness, accepting, not being fit, accepting medications and disease is part of getting older. And oh boy, it's anything but.
Right. Yes, there's a message for everyone. Yeah. Well, it's really wonderful to talk to you because you really have a message that many, many people could hear, and just listen and let that percolate and see where it takes you. Because there's goodness, there's abundance, right? That can happen. Yeah.
The rest, I thought my life was over. It's just like, I'm so excited for what the future will hold. Yeah, I really am. And if it's never gets better than where it is now, it's pretty exciting to be my age and to have healed and to be able to do the things I can do and to be blessed in the ways I never could have imagined. Even if you said to me 5 years ago, okay, just go out in left field and say everything you think you want, I could have never have dreamt this big.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
I just could have.
Mm-hmm. God is good.
Yes, very.
God is good. Thanks again. I'd shake your hand if I was there with you.
Oh, yeah, I wish I was. Thank you. Same here.